Are you considering pardoning Paul Manafort?
I have great respect for what he's done in terms of what he's gone through. You know, he worked for Ronald Reagan for years. He worked for Bob Dole. He worked, I guess his firm worked for McCain. He worked for many, many people, many, many years. And I would say what he did, some of the charges they threw against him, every consultant, every lobbyist in Washington probably does.
Wow. Welcome back to Hardball. That was President Trump dodging a question on whether he would pardon his former campaign chair, Paul Manafort, who was found guilty this week of 8 counts of bank and tax fraud charges. The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, told the Washington Post that Trump discussed the possibility of pardoning Manafort with his lawyers several weeks ago, and that they counseled the president against the idea of pardoning anyone linked to the investigation into Russia's interference in the 2016 election, according to Giuliani, saying Trump should at least wait until special counsel Robert Mueller has concluded his probe. Well, Giuliani added the president agreed and did not push the issue further. I'm joined by Eli Stokols, a White House reporter for the L.A. Times. Thank you, Eli, in this. And let's get into the first of all, let's talk about the fact of what we know about the Manafort jury. That this woman was wonderful. I heard her on Fox last night, Paula Duncan. She's very smart about how she played it out. She seemed like the kind of reasonable jury you'd like to have on any jury to get the truth. And that she pointed out, one of those juries, let's read this, spoke out last night. Let's watch her.
How close, I want to know, did this jury come to convicting Paul Manafort on all 18 counts?
By one. There was one holdout.
So you all agreed on the 8 counts. The 10 others, there was one person who kept you from making that next step.
That's correct, yes.
What was their reasoning, if they shared with you?
Reasonable doubt.
Let me ask you about that. I guess reasonable that could be a mindset, a person just not comfortable making a big decision like this on someone's life. But what does this tell us about the prosecutor? It seems to me it tells us that they're going to go ahead with the prosecution of all these other counts in D.C., where there'll probably be a tougher jury facing someone like a big shot like Manafort. And they're going to probably have a better shot there to even get all 18 or 25, whatever they're pushing this time.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate on what it was for that one juror that held them up. But if you listen to the whole interview and what she said, a couple things stood out. One, her honesty about saying, hey, I'm a Republican. I got a Make America Great hat in my car.
That woman talking there.
That's what she said. And she said, I wanted Manafort. She's aware of the context. She knows who these people are. And she came in saying she wanted him to be innocent. But the evidence was overwhelming. And if the evidence was enough for 11 out of 12 people to want to convict on all 18 counts, it tells you something about the evidence. It also struck me what she said about Rick Gates' testimony and how most people on the jury as a whole, didn't find him to be very credible. That is instructive for the government in terms of what they get out of putting Gates on the stand, and the idea that as the president has told people over and over again that people who flip are just, in his words, making stuff up. Whether or not they're making things up about him or not, the idea that they're working with the government, to at least some people on this jury, made Gates seem
well, now he's facing another trial, Manafort in D.C., probably a more liberal, more difficult jury for a Republican like him, a big shot, a lobbyist, not a great word. What does that say about a possible pardon? I mean, it looks like this guy's going to be facing a lot of time coming out of the next trial.
Well, he's 69 right now, so forget the next trial. The trial that just concluded, if he gets the minimum range, he's looking at 10 years. So chances are this guy is going to do a lot of time. And I think talking to our reporters who've been covering the trial, talking with the Manafort attorneys, the sense is that his only real hope at this point is a pardon. And it's striking that the president, who's seeing the sort of walls closing in, still continues to express his personal feeling that Manafort is a victim here, that Manafort is being unfairly targeted. And after doing so for a couple of days, you see Rudy Giuliani go out and acknowledge the fact that they've talked about it. Now, obviously, it would be foolish for the president. I'm not going to predict he won't do it, but it seems like, of course, he would get advice to wait until after the election.
But the fact
and
that
after
you're into something there. The fact that his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is suggesting they've been thinking about it.
But he goes out and says, yesterday at the White House, Sarah Sanders was asked about this, and she said, I'm aware of no conversations that have taken place
this is a ray of hope.
About a pardon.
If you're Manafort, this is a ray of hope when you hear Rudy Giuliani's president's already talking about it.
And it looks like a smoke signal that they're sending to him, and that is something that investigators will also look at, because right in an obstruction case, is the president and his attorney, are they intentionally sending a message to people to not cooperate as the investigation?
Let's go to the other side. If you're the prosecutor here and you're Robert Mueller, and you're going to the judge and say, give this guy serious time, hard time, maximum security or minimum security, medium security, And this guy could be going to a really hellish place, Leavenworth or somewhere, for 10 or 15 years. It's not like Allen would be play tennis and lift weights and talk to the white-collar criminals and have fun with them. You're going to a serious prison. Can they put that kind of pressure on this guy Manafort at this point?
They can, but I think the more they lean into that, the more it does play into the president's characterization of this as they're out to get him. Yeah. They're being too harsh on him. For more, some people who get caught on this, maybe it's a tax audit. Manafort is getting strung up because he worked for me. And that is the thing that I think, generally the investigators, the prosecutors, they've kept their heads down. They've tried to not be influenced by the media circus and Trump tweets and things like that, but they have to be cognizant of the implications of this and the sense that the public and that a jury may have that they are out to get this guy.
Let's see what his mensch factor is, how much Trump actually cares about another human being who's been loyal to him, who won't.
Well, I mean, the pardon seems to be more out of self-interest than real concern for Paul Manafort.
With this guy, but he talks like he cares about the guy. Thank you, Eli Stoke.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.